Hello everyone, welcome to Field Dreamer. So, today my exam is complete. Yesterday I had posted about the targets for one day before the exam, and today I will share the updates on that. But before that, let me just talk about some things which came to my mind while preparing for this exam and also, while going and giving it, writing the exam and traveling in public transport. So, why public transport suddenly? Well, I realized a few things related to myself, to this preparation, and human psychology in general. So, I would like to share that to keep reminding myself of the little realizations I had regarding my attitude towards this exam. So, first thing is, if the exam is tomorrow. Now, this thought struck me when I was preparing one day before the exam, and I witnessed myself pushing my limits and doing all those targets and even going beyond them and studying, which basically I could not do for the last few months. So that made me think that what is this burst of energy that enters just one day before the exam, and why doesn't it sustain throughout the year? So I think there's no answer to why it does not sustain. That's simple, because you don't feel the pressure, right? But is there a way to use that and simulate that kind of urgency when the exam is not tomorrow but 2 years later, or say a few months later? So the thing is, we should do the back calculation first. That is, think as if your exam is tomorrow, or at least like just a week away, or very near. It's just knocking at your door, knocking on the door. So now what do? You just take out the previous year questions. You try to understand the exam, right? So basically, you do the back calculation and then start working. We know that the mountain is huge and uncertain, and the paths are many, right? Especially in an exam like UPSC. But you have got to decide one path, your path, and that should be completely certain. There should be no doubts about it. That research is going to take time, but it's very important that you do it. So, the next thing is, sometimes we know almost everything about the end goal and also about the path, but it is the traveler we don't trust, and that traveler is us, and that is the source of our fear. So where did this thought come from? It's basically when I was like studying, I saw that I am pushing myself beyond my limits, but my body, mind is not taking it, because I have not done that, right? For the past few months, I haven't studied like that. So suddenly, even though I have a deadline, I have the exam just the next day, I cannot go beyond a certain point. And it was just 6 hours for me. I studied for 6 hours, but I was totally tired because those study sessions were focused ones. And that is what is required throughout the year in an exam like UPSC, right? So the thing here is, we have to first know ourselves and we have to know our weaknesses like these. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted to give a real exam while I was in graduation, and not online exams. I wanted to go sit in that exam hall and feel that pressure to understand these kind of things about an exam. So after all of this, I found out, like, I figured out some points, basically a conclusion of all these thoughts. So to summarize, the first thing is, I have to study the exam. Like, I'm talking about UPSC. So just like how I desperately analyzed the IGNOU PYQs to find out the pattern and make a strategy one day before the exam, I have to do that for UPSC too, to find a certain path which we discussed. Then second, I have to work on myself. that is to trust the traveler and reduce the fear around the exam. So, working on myself includes certain things. So, the first point is to fix a routine, at least the sleeping and waking up time. So, sleeping time, I have decided for myself, it can vary a little bit, like 30 minutes up or down, but it should not vary too much. Like 12:30 should not become to midnight, or like sleeping at 4. That should not happen. And waking up time would be 8. Then the next point is exercise, which is very important because I have experienced it. Once you exercise, after that your focus is on a whole different, whole new level. I mean, you don't have to put in that effort to focus and cut out distractions after exercising. So you should not miss that. So for me, it is yoga, little bit in the morning, and an evening run, like whenever it's possible because it's cold also right now. The next is cleaning one part of the room regularly. So that plays a psychological effect also. Like when you're cleaning up things, if it's just your table or even the bed, then you are sending, positive signals to your brain that you're taking control of things, and also you're organizing it. So in the brain also, all the cluttered thoughts you have, they also tend to become organized. Well, that is my observation. And the next thing is logging my study sessions on Forest app. So I use this app, and I've like recently started using it, and I saw it's really helpful because I can see, like, for real, which are those times in the day that I'm most productive, and like for how much time I focused, then when I got distracted, when I didn't study. So basically, that's what I did. And I realized I studied for just 6 hours, and that was mostly in the evening and night. I wasted the whole morning. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to do. Those should be timed, focused sessions, like Pomodoro sessions of 25 minutes. So now the next thing is, I always had this dilemma that if I focus just for 25 minutes, then sometimes I feel like, stretching it out to 1 hour, 2 hours, because once you have focused for 25 minutes, that is when your focus builds up. And now, if you just take a break, then it again gets wasted, all those effort, right? So, my solution to that for myself, what I found out was, say I studied for 25 minutes. Now, if I feel I can continue and the focus has built up, now my resistance to study would be very less. Okay, so I can skip that break and I can again start another session of 25 minutes. Now I can continue this until the time that I don't need a break. Say for 2 hours I studied, but then I can take a break. Okay, that can be of 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But the advantage that I have here is, suppose in the evening, if I'm studying when I'm not in the peak focus sessions, then if I study, like set a session of 2 hours straight, and I'm not able to focus, so that sends a negative signal that, I failed the task. So instead of that, what I can do is I'll set up just a 25-minute session, and I'll finish that, then I'll take a break of 5 minutes, then another focus session. So that gives you the advantage of stretching it out or limiting it to just 25 minutes. So that worked for me. So I'm going to continue that. So yeah, this was all about whatever I thought and whatever I realized. And yeah, relating to the public transport thing, so I mentioned that because when I was going to give the exam, I had to wait a long time after the exam to catch the bus. Okay, and it was getting dark. So I felt a kind of fear creeping inside me. A fear of uncertainty. Okay, that at 21 years of age, what am I doing here? You know, I have not even done my graduation. I'm not doing any job. I don't have any degree. I'm just preparing for an exam, which also carries a lot of risk with it. So that uncertainty was very, it pulled me down a lot. But then I had to do something about it because I cannot just sit down and feel bad about things. after work. So these are how this is how I organized my thoughts and came up with a plan of action. And yeah, so now it's the time for the updates that I uh, had to share with you. So as you can see, out of the 20 topics that were left, well, these were the topics that were extra, like that were remaining for the last day. There were many other topics too, which I had already done before. But yeah, talking about these topics, out of 20, I completed, 13, as you can see, and 7 I did not complete. But the exam went well. All of the questions, it came from the topics which I covered. Maybe if I would have done all the topics, then I would have got a lot more content, and I also could have revised it properly if I did it before, of course. So yeah, that's what I'll do in UPSC, right? And for the remaining exams, so I have not set targets for the next exam yet, because it's already 12:30 right now, and it'll take another half an hour to 1 hour to do that. So I'll do it tomorrow, the first thing in the morning, setting targets. Though I should not do this, like I should not postpone the target setting thing for the next day, but it's just for today because it was already late as I traveled and spent some time with my mom, my sister. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Let's meet again later. Bye.